Arcueid Brunestud. Arcueid Brunestud, Arakido Buryunsutato, is the princess of the true ancestors. She is the main heroine of Tsukihime, a piece of blue glass moon, and the Tsukihime remake series. Arcueid Brunestud is the white princess of the true ancestors. The title of Brunestud was given to those true ancestors capable of manifesting the Millennium Castle Brunestud, and has been likened to be the vampire royal family, although this is not strictly true. The true ancestors were a race of beings copied from Type Moon, the ultimate being of the moon, also known as the Crimson Moon. Long ago the will of the planet had no defense mechanism against humanity, nothing to keep them in check. Thus the Crimson Moon came down and offered to help the planet make a race of ultimate beings to rule over humanity, thus resulting in them being the consciousness of the planet. She is a true ancestor who, around the year 1200, spawned naturally, as true ancestors always do. It was soon discovered that her specs were far above the true ancestor standard. It was decided impromptu that she was to be educated for anti-corrupted true ancestor purposes. She woke up only to kill corrupted true ancestors, and went to sleep after defeating her target. As the executioner, she did not have any vampiric impulses, and the rest of the true ancestors also believed she had none. Somewhere along the cycle of her killing demon lord duties, she was tricked by the mage Roa into drinking human blood, causing her to go haywire. After killing all the true ancestors who raised her, she regained her sanity and locked herself in the Millennium Castle. After that, she formed a new cycle where every time Roa reincarnated, she would visit the world outside the castle, punish him, and return to sleep. Arcueid finally managed to destroy Roa's original body, although it took an alliance with the burial agency to do it. Roa was not killed however, as he had managed to master reincarnation, and constantly reincarnated into host bodies he chose before his deaths. These host bodies were chosen for a mix of social standing, rich families with influence, and the physical/magical potential of the body. After destroying Roa's original body, Arcueid went to sleep and awoke only to kill Roa's reincarnations constantly, but was never able to destroy him and get her power back as he would simply reincarnate each time. At the time of Tsukihime, Roa had reincarnated 17 times, with his last reincarnation being Shiki Tano. Appearance. She has the appearance of a female teenager around 16 to 17. Her real age is about 800 to 900. Arcueid has short, golden blonde hair and piercing crimson red eyes, wearing plain clothing, often a white turtleneck sweater, a blue skirt, black tights, and boots. At the time of the French incident and when Roa first met her, Arcueid had much longer hair. Arcueid is seemingly capable of changing the form of her clothes at will, as seen in the Seal Root True End when her clothing rapidly change until she gains her Red Arcueid outfit. As Red Arcueid, she gains a complete appearance of how classic Arcueid looks, only with an open gap on the right side of her skirt, which causes it to resemble her extra counterpart's outfit. Personality. Not the best person to have as an ally and the absolute worst to have as an enemy. This princess is a killer machine who never experienced anything other than fighting and doesn't care for useless matters. Or rather, was. That said, the total time she's been active is less than a year. She's a genuine bloodsucker who came to Suya Town in pursuit of the vampire Roa. An invigorating heroine with looks and a personality unbecoming of a vampire, who gets killed by the protagonist in her introduction scene. She gets interested in Shiki's murder skills and asks him for his help. She has no desire to threaten human society, instead hunting other vampires known as dead apostles. After suffering through a traumatic experience, a naively innocent side of her was somehow released. She now lives as a free-spirited, almost childish princess. She's chaotic good. Introverted, extroverted when it comes to Shiki, cheerful, and active. Since her appearance is stuck in an late teens form, her mental age is also not matured. Not caring about details is in her personality. She got happy-go-lucky ever since Shiki killed her, but she still has her vast knowledge and dry humor, her logical nature as a true ancestor, resulting in an unbalanced personality, carefree yet intellectual. After being broken as a true ancestor beyond repair, she grew greatly interested in Shiki, and this interest eventually developed into affection, which was taken to extreme level of loving Shiki's life, so she wants to protect not only Shiki himself, but also everything Shiki approves. Except when she is rampaging or awakened. In Seal's Root, the awakened Ark's directive was to first obtain Shiki, and only then respect his life. And to obtain Shiki, she chose the frightening method of eliminating all obstacles. Arcueid does everything in her power not to drink Shiki's blood, which nearly occurs several times in-game as he is practically the only human at night with her, and she has problems controlling her vampiric impulses, Kuketsu Shoto, after being drastically weakened by Shiki's attack. She doesn't want to drink blood, as she doesn't want to become a monster that feeds on humans in order to survive. As Red Arcueid, Boso Arakido, Berserk Arcueid, due to the effects of coming back from a certain incident, in Type Lumina, this incident was Shiki killing her, much like he did when they first met in the original Tsukihime series, her vampiric impulses and overwhelming desires have taken over. Controlled by pure emotion, her words and actions are quite dangerous, but her underlying personality remains mostly unchanged. The only big difference is her increased selfishness and changed attitude toward humans. Abilities. Arcueid was developed with the purpose of becoming the strongest true ancestor. While there are different levels of power in the true ancestor hierarchy, Arcueid, as a sublimation on the level of the first true ancestor, Crimson Moon, is beyond all of the other true ancestors. Combat. Her specs are far above the true ancestor standard. She is incredibly powerful and very capable in close combat, and despite being a vampire, is able to survive in direct sunlight. Arcueid can freely turn her hands into claws for combat like other vampires, allowing her to easily shred opponents. She can move at tremendous speeds, and her physical strength is easily able to overwhelm opponents. Arcueid can also conjure vines and chains for combat. During Arcueid and Shiki's fight with Vlav, she chained Shiki onto one of the blocks with her vines, with the vines later converging onto the other debris, coming together into an aerial pathway. Tapping into her full power causes flowers, vines and other vegetation to sprout whenever Arcueid takes a step. At the true end of the seal route, when Arcueid has recovered most of her strength, the effect is strong enough to cover an entire city block in creepers in a matter of seconds. Alongside the limited form of immortality granted by her race, she has developed a resistance to most conceptual weapons and magecraft like runes and Kabbalah. She is hard to kill during the day, and she is almost invulnerable at night, her power reaching its peak during the full moon. During the night, she technically has no death, so all of her lines and points of death disappear. It is possible to see them if she is weakened, and removing her connection with the planet by killing part of the world around her allows for Shiki to view them clearly even at night. She has mystic eyes that enchants the souls of those who the user looks at and of those who looks at the user, granting her the ability to plant suggestions and paralyze people in place. The color of her eyes changes to gold when they are active, thus revealing her as possessing the mystic eyes of enchantment. Marble Phantasm. An ability possessed by the nature spirits that are the planet's sense of touch, allowing them to reconstruct the world through probability alteration. By connecting their will to the world, they can transfigure it into whatever environment they imagine. During her fight with Roa, Arcueid activates her trump card to change the corridor's shape to become an ethereal crystallized form of itself. This disables Roa's magecraft foundation, sealing him in a confined space that is visualized as a cube that appears before Arcueid, then proceeds to swipe her claws over it, causing Roa's body to be disintegrated. This is portrayed through her last arc Marble Phantasm, Seal. Backup. Arcueid receives backup from the planet as part of the counterforce. She has the ability to increase her fighting power to one level above those she faces while drawing upon it, and it is said to be virtually unlimited. Overall, the strength available to her as of Tsukihime, 30% of her strength, is around that of 4 servants. She will very likely win when only faced with one servant-level opponent in this state, but even with her power, she would still potentially be overwhelmed when faced with 2 opponents of that level. Due to an absolute order from her backup, the planet itself, her output changes according to her opponent, so she is only allowed an output slightly stronger than her opponent, like how the counter-force deals with its problems. Vampire. Event Storage. An ability of the true ancestors, the planet's sense of touch. The conceptual and physical storage of things reared on the planet's surface. Every creature that has appeared on the face of the planet, it is something that requisitions textures. Bloodlust. She is the only true ancestor able to suppress her vampiric impulses with pure willpower. As she drank Roa's blood in the past, Seal states that, no matter how long she holds out, it is inevitable that she will drink it again. Restriction. Before Shiki killed her, she was using 70% of her power to suppress her vampiric impulses at the beginning of Tsukihime, when she still had a portion of her power stolen by Roa, who stored it inside his soul, and he always used this portion in order to be reincarnated in other bodies. But even then she was more than strong enough to destroy almost any dead apostle that got in her way. Crimson Moon. Arcueid is one of two possible successors to the original Crimson Moon. The other is her sister Alt-Rouge Brunestud, but she is generally considered too unstable. Arcueid didn't cut her hair on her own, but it was taken away during a battle against Alt-Rouge, and until she recovers it, it won't grow back. At her full power, her form, power, and even thinking can be said to be that of Crimson Moon.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.